The knock on her door wasn't gentle. It was thunder. When Claire Whitmore opened it that Tuesday morning, 5 FBI agents stood before her, bulletproof vests strapped tight across their chests, stern eyes scanning her face, badges gleaming under the pale morning sun. One of them held a warrant with her name printed in bold black letters. They weren't searching for someone else. They were searching for her. She thought she was planning a wedding. She thought she had finally found love after years of loneliness. She thought the man who called her every night, who sent her handwritten letters, who promised to build a life with her, was real. Instead, she was part of a crime ring that had stolen over $12 million from innocent victims across 3 continents. Her name was Claire, a woman who wanted nothing more than to love and be loved. But love became her weapon, and she never saw it coming. Let me tell you how a simple act of trust turned into a federal investigation, how a man who never existed destroyed a woman who was very real, and how the most dangerous lies are the ones wrapped in affection. Before we go further, if you want to protect yourself and the people you love from scams like this, hit that subscribe button right now, because this story could save you from making the same mistake Claire did. And trust me, you'll want to hear every word. Now let's go back to where it all began. Claire Whitmore was 47 years old when this story started. She lived in a modest 2-bedroom house in Columbus, Ohio, the kind of house where the lawn was always trimmed and the porch light always worked. She worked as an administrative assistant at a local law firm, a job that paid well enough to cover her mortgage, her car payment, and the occasional dinner out. Nothing flashy, but enough to live comfortably. Her daughter had moved to Portland for college and rarely called. Her ex-husband remarried within a year of their divorce to a woman 10 years younger. Her parents had passed when she was in her 30s. Her closest friends were busy raising families of their own, and the invitations to girls' nights and weekend brunches had slowly dried up over the years. Claire wasn't bitter about any of this. She wasn't angry. She was just quiet. The kind of quiet that comes when life moves forward without you, when you realize you're no longer part of the story everyone else is telling. She filled her evenings with books, true crime podcasts, and long walks around the neighborhood where couples held hands and families laughed on their front porches. She loved her routine. She told herself she was content, but contentment isn't the same as happiness, and deep down, Claire was lonely. She didn't want extravagance. She didn't need grand gestures, fairy tale endings, or movie-perfect romance. She wanted companionship, someone to say good morning and mean it, someone to share a meal with, someone to watch television beside, someone to notice when she wasn't okay. She wanted to matter to someone again, and that longing, that simple human longing, made her vulnerable. Let's talk about loneliness for a moment, because this isn't just Claire's story. It's the story of millions. Studies show that over 60 million Americans report feeling lonely regularly. That's 1 in 5 people. And loneliness doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care if you're rich or poor, young or old, successful or struggling. It creeps in during the quiet moments, when you're eating dinner alone, when you have good news but no one to share it with, when you scroll through social media and see everyone else living lives that seem fuller than yours. Claire felt that every single day. She'd scroll through Facebook and see old classmates posting vacation photos with their spouses. She'd walk past couples holding hands in the park. She'd overhear her coworkers talking about date nights and anniversaries. And every time, a small voice in her head whispered, "When is it your turn?" So one evening, after a particularly long day at work where nothing went right and no one noticed, Claire did something she'd been thinking about for months. She created a profile on a dating app. Nothing extravagant, just a simple bio. Divorced, looking for a genuine connection. Love books, long walks, and honest conversation. No games, no drama, just real. She uploaded a photo of herself smiling at a friend's wedding, pressed submit, and waited. Within hours, her inbox was flooded. Dozens of messages, some crude, some generic. Some clearly copy-pasted from the same template used on 100 other women, but one message stood out. If you're still with me in this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more. His name was Daniel Hayes, or at least that's what his profile said. His photo showed a handsome man in his early 50s with salt and pepper hair, kind eyes, and a warm, genuine smile. He wore a casual button-down shirt and stood in front of what looked like a European cafe, the kind of place where people drink espresso and read newspapers. His bio was simple but heartfelt. Widower, father of 2, entrepreneur, trying to rebuild after loss, looking for someone who understands that life is short and love is worth the risk. Claire stared at that photo for a long time. There was something about him, something that felt safe, something that felt real. His first message was nothing like the others. Hi, Claire. I read your profile and it made me smile. You sound like someone who's been through enough to know what really matters. I hope you find what you're looking for, whether that's with me or someone else. Take care. No pickup line, no pressure, no aggressive flirting or inappropriate comments. Just kindness, Claire responded. And that's where it all began. Their messages were slow at first, polite, curious. Daniel told her he was an oil and gas consultant, traveling frequently between the United States and West Africa for business, contracts. He explained that he'd lost his wife to cancer 3 years earlier and had been raising 2 children, Emma, age 9, and Liam, age 12, on his own. He talked about how hard it was to be both mother and father, how he struggled with bedtime routines and homework, how he missed having a partner to share the small moments with. He asked about her life, her daughter, her work, her dreams. And for the first time in years, Claire felt seen. Daniel didn't rush. He didn't love-bomb her with constant attention or overwhelming declarations. He didn't make grand promises or talk about destiny and soulmates. He just listened. Weeks passed. Their messages turned into phone calls. Their phone calls turned into video chats, though the video chats were always brief, always grainy, always cut short by connection issues. Daniel was always traveling, always on the move, always in places with bad internet. But Claire didn't mind, because when they did connect, he made her feel like the only person in the world. If you're still with me in this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more. 3 months into their relationship, Claire was falling hard. Daniel sent her good morning texts every single day. He asked about her coworkers by name. He remembered details, her favorite coffee order, the book she was reading, the anniversary of her mother's passing. He shared photos of his kids, videos of them playing soccer in a backyard she couldn't quite place, stories about bedtime routines and homework struggles, and the way Emma insisted on wearing mismatched socks to school. He even mailed her a handwritten letter. It arrived in a cream-colored envelope with international postage stamps. Inside, his handwriting was careful and deliberate. Claire, I never thought I'd feel this way again. You've reminded me that it's okay to hope. Thank you for being patient with me. I can't wait for the day we're finally in the same room. Signed, Daniel. Claire cried when she read that letter. She kept it in her nightstand. She read it on bad days. She showed it to her daughter over FaceTime, and her daughter said, "Mom, I'm happy for you. He sounds wonderful." Claire was in love. And Daniel, he never asked for money. Not once. He never hinted, never suggested, never pressured. In fact, when Claire offered to send him a gift card for his kids' birthdays, just $50 to Amazon so they could pick something they wanted, he initially refused. Claire, you don't have to do that. You've already given me so much just by being in my life. But she insisted, and eventually, he accepted. It felt real. It felt honest. Because scammers ask for money, right? That's how you know. That's the red flag everyone talks about. But Daniel never asked. 6 months into their relationship, Daniel came to Claire with a problem. He was careful about how he framed it. Apologetic. Almost embarrassed. Claire, I need to ask you something, and I hate that I even have to bring this up. He explained that he was dealing with complicated tax issues between the United States and Nigeria, where most of his business contracts were based. Because of international financial regulations, he couldn't receive certain payments directly into his U.S. accounts without triggering massive tax penalties. His accountant had advised him to route payments through a trusted partner in the States, someone who could receive the funds temporarily and then forward them to his offshore business account. "I know how this sounds," Daniel said. "I know it's a lot to ask. But Claire, you're the only person I trust with this. And I promise, everything is completely legal. My accountant has all the documentation. It's just a temporary workaround until the tax season ends." Claire hesitated. Her gut told her something felt off. The request was strange. The explanation was complicated. She didn't fully understand the tax laws or international banking regulations. But then Daniel added, "Once this deal is done, I'm coming home. For good. No more travel. No more distance. We can finally start our life together. I'm going to book a flight. I'm going to meet you in person. And I'm going to prove to you that everything I've said is real." Claire wanted to believe him. She needed to believe him. So she said yes. The first transfer arrived 3 days later, $8,400. It came from a business account Claire didn't recognize. The memo line read, "Consulting Services, Hayes Enterprises." Daniel called her immediately. "Did you get it?" "Okay, perfect. I need you to withdraw that in cash and send it via wire transfer to this account number. I'll text you the details. This is for the contractor overseeing the pipeline project. Time sensitive. Can you do that today?" Claire drove to her bank, withdrew the cash, went to a wire transfer service, sent the money exactly where Daniel instructed. "You're amazing, Claire." "Thank you. I know this is strange, but I promise it'll all make sense soon." The second transfer came a week later, $12,000, then $15,500, then $22,000. The amounts grew. The frequency increased, sometimes 2 or 3 transfers a week, always from different names, always with vague memo lines, always with Daniel's urgent instructions to forward the funds immediately. Claire's bank account became a revolving door. Money in, money out. She never kept a dollar. She never questioned the sources. She trusted Daniel. But deep down, a small voice was whispering, "Something isn't right." The transfers were always rushed, always urgent. Daniel's explanations were always vague. And when Claire asked to speak to his accountant directly, Daniel always had an excuse. He's traveling, he's in a meeting, he doesn't speak English well. But every time Claire's doubts crept in, Daniel would send her a message that pulled her back. "I can't wait to hold you, Claire. Just a few more weeks. I've already looked at flights. We're so close." And so she kept going, kept transferring, kept believing, kept sinking. Looking back, the red flags were everywhere. But when you're in it, when you're emotionally invested, you don't see them. Or maybe you see them, but you explain them away. Daniel never video called from a recognizable location. It was always hotel rooms, airport lounges, blurry backgrounds that could have been anywhere. He never introduced Claire to his kids on video, only showed pre-recorded clips. His social media presence was minimal, a few posts, no tagged photos, no friends commenting. Every time Claire suggested visiting him, he had a reason why it wasn't possible yet. The contracts weren't finalized. The kids were in school. His schedule was too unpredictable. And then there was the money. Always the money. Always urgent. Always confusing. But Claire ignored them all because Daniel was kind. Daniel was patient. Daniel was consistent. And Claire had already decided that Daniel was the man she would marry. If you're watching this and thinking, how could she not see it? Remember this. Scammers are professionals. They study psychology. They exploit emotions. They know exactly what to say and when to say it. And it could happen to anyone. If this story is opening your eyes, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to see it. Because awareness is the only weapon we have against predators like this. It was a Tuesday morning. Claire was getting ready for work. Coffee brewing, NPR on the radio, a normal day. And then came the knock. She opened the door. 5 FBI agents, bulletproof vests, badges, guns holstered but visible. One of them spoke. "Claire Whitmore? Yes? We have a warrant to search this property. Step aside, please." Claire's world tilted. They stormed in. Systematic, efficient, cold. Phones seized, laptop confiscated, bank statements collected, notebooks photographed. An agent sat her down at her kitchen table. "Ms. Whitmore, do you know why we're here?" "No, I don't understand." "Do you know a man named Daniel Hayes?" "Yes, he's my fiancé." The agent's expression didn't change. "Ms. Whitmore, Daniel Hayes does not exist. They took her to a federal building downtown, a small windowless room, a metal table, 2 chairs, a recorder." The questions came fast. "How long have you known Daniel? How much money have you transferred on his behalf? Do you know where that money came from? Do you know where it went?" Claire tried to explain, tried to defend herself, tried to make them understand that she was a victim too. But the agent cut her off. "Ms. Whitmore, you've processed over $847,000 through your bank account in the last 4 months. That money was stolen from elderly victims, disabled veterans, and vulnerable individuals across the United States. You facilitated the transfer of those funds to criminal networks operating in West Africa and Southeast Asia. You're a money mule." Claire's hands trembled. "I didn't know. I swear to God I didn't know. That's what they all say." The FBI showed Claire everything. Photos of Daniel, stolen from a Norwegian model's Instagram account, videos of his kids, downloaded from public YouTube channels, ripped from family vlogs of people who had no idea their children's faces were being used to manipulate lonely women. The voice on the phone, a rotating cast of scammers using voice modulation software, switching shifts like workers in a call center. The handwritten letter, printed from a template and mailed by an accomplice in the United States. Every word, every laugh, every "I love you," all lies. Daniel Hayes didn't exist. He never had. But the people whose money Claire transferred, they were real. The FBI explained how the operation worked. Daniel was a persona created by a criminal syndicate based primarily in Nigeria, with operatives in Malaysia, the Philippines, and Ghana. They ran dozens, possibly hundreds of fake profiles simultaneously, each one targeting lonely, vulnerable individuals in wealthy countries. The playbook was identical. Build trust slowly. Never ask for money directly. Use emotional manipulation. Introduce a business opportunity. Turn the victim into an unwitting accomplice. Claire wasn't Daniel's only victim. She was one of 12 women in the United States alone who were simultaneously being manipulated by the same syndicate. Each woman believed she was the only one. Each woman thought she was in love. Each woman was helping criminals steal millions. The agent opened a folder. Inside were photos and stories of the real victims. An 81-year-old widow in Florida who lost her entire retirement savings, $340,000, to a romance scam. She died by suicide 3 months later. A disabled veteran in Texas sent $95,000 meant for his daughter's medical treatment. A grieving father in Oregon was scammed out of $120,000 while mourning the loss of his son. Their money went through Claire's account. She didn't steal it, but she helped move it, and those people would never get it back. Claire broke down. The FBI made a decision. After reviewing all the evidence, they determined that Claire was a victim, not a perpetrator. She wouldn't face criminal charges, but that didn't mean she walked away unscathed. Her bank account was frozen. Her assets were seized pending investigation. Her employer put her on unpaid leave. Her name appeared in news reports as part of a federal money laundering investigation. Even though she was cleared, the damage was done. Her reputation was shattered. Her savings were gone. Her trust in people obliterated. Claire didn't leave her house for 2 weeks. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, could barely breathe. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Daniel's face, heard his voice, felt his lies wrapping around her like chains. She blamed herself. How could I be so stupid? How did I not see it? Why did I trust him? Her daughter flew home from Portland, held her while she cried, told her it wasn't her fault, but Claire couldn't hear it. All she could think about was the widow in Florida, the veteran in Texas, the father in Oregon. She helped ruin their lives, and no amount of you not knowing could change that. Recovery was slow. Claire started therapy, joined a support group for romance scam survivors, connected with others who had been through the same nightmare. She learned that shame was part of the scam, that isolation was part of the control. She also learned she wasn't alone. Millions of people fall victim to romance scams every year. In 2024 alone, Americans lost over $1.3 billion to these schemes. It wasn't about intelligence. It wasn't about weakness. It was about human connection being weaponized. Slowly, painfully, Claire rebuilt. She found a new job, opened a new bank account, started saying yes to coffee with friends, and eventually, she found her voice. She began speaking publicly about her experience, sharing her story to warn others, helping people recognize the red flags she missed. She turned her pain into purpose. So let me leave you with this. Romance scams don't start with a request for money. They start with affection, attention, understanding. They start with someone making you feel seen. If someone you've never met in person is asking you to receive money on their behalf, send money via wire transfer, cryptocurrency, or gift cards, keep your relationship secret from friends and family, or move conversations off the dating platform immediately. Stop. Step back. Ask questions. Real love is patient. Real love doesn't pressure. Real love doesn't put you at legal risk. Claire's story could have ended differently. It could have ended with her in prison. It could have ended with her name destroyed forever. Instead, it ended with her finding the courage to warn people like you. If this video opened your eyes, if it made you think twice, do 3 things. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss stories that could protect you and your loved ones. Like this video to help it reach people who need to see it. Share it with someone who's dating online, someone who's been lonely, someone who might be vulnerable. Because the truth is simple. The most dangerous lies are the ones wrapped in love, and awareness is the only armor we have. Stay safe out there, and remember, if something feels too perfect, it probably is.